We're going to be reacting to this article from The Cut. And the reason I want to talk about this article is because I made a video at some point, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was talking about women who call all men trash. And my point was, men are not trash, the men you pick are trash. And this article is titled, Why Are All Men Trash? It's a Q&A, a question and answer. So somebody asks a question and then the author, who I believe is Randa Sakala, provides a response. And the question is very interesting. It really connects to my point I made in the form of video. So this person is asking the question of why are all men trash? And Randa is going to provide her perspective. So let's delve into the question. Hey Randa, I'm feeling really disheartened by dating right now. It's not that I don't think I'm worthy of love, but the opposite. For the first time in my life at 27, I'm feeling very positive about myself. I am funny, sporty, and hot. And I have a cool job and cool friends. I hate to say this, but the men I'm encountering just don't measure up. They are literally the freaking worst. They are bad communicators, emotionally stunted, and don't act their age. When I meet somebody I find attractive, we have sex twice and then he ghosts me. And the guys that actually do want to date me are usually unattractive or otherwise too normy or dorky. As for dating apps, I truly have no words. If that's who Hinge thinks I'm most compatible with, I thoroughly disagree. What gives? Should I date someone 10 years older than me? Should I just not date at all? As Bonnie Tyler asks in Holding Out for a Hero, where have all the good men gone? Sincerely, damsel unimpressed. So that's the question. And during the course of this presentation, I'm going to break down her question and then give my comment on that. Now, normally, Randa gives her thoughts. I'm not going to go into Randa's thoughts. You can look into that yourself. The link is going to be in the description. But I just want to focus on that question and give my opinion on that. Let's revisit her question. Let's break it down and let's really look into it. So she's 27 years old. Okay. And for the first time in her life, she feels very positive about herself. I am funny, sporty, and hot, and I have a cool job and cool friends. Now, to me, the way I interpret this question is most likely she has very low self-esteem. Because it says, for the first time in my life, I'm feeling very positive about myself. For the first time in her life, at the age of 27, she feels positive about herself. Now, to me, I take that as she has low self-esteem. Okay? It could be she's been the ugly duckling. Maybe she was fat, she was not attractive. Most likely she didn't feel like she measured up to her friends. So now that she feels positive about herself, I think she's starting to get attention from a bunch of guys, right? And some of these guys she finds attractive, but the problem is these guys she finds attractive are, according to her again, they are literally the freaking worst. They are bad communicators, they are emotionally stunted and don't act your age. When I meet someone I find attractive, we have sex twice. Let's not skip over that. They are bad communicators, emotionally stunted, and don't act their age. But we have sex twice, and then he ghosts me. Again, low self-esteem. This is how I interpret this. She reminds me of a girl that had very low self-esteem, and maybe the guys that she really wanted, the popular guys, the bad boys, that's the word, the bad boys, quote unquote, were not checking for her. So now that she feels pretty, they are checking for her. And maybe because she never got their validation, when she was not feeling positive about herself. Now she gives them her time, her energy. And despite the fact that she's saying that they are bad communicators, they are emotionally stunted and don't act their age, she's still attracted to them. And she fucks them twice. What this tells me is that her self-esteem is so low that she's willing to tolerate bad treatment from guys she finds attractive just because most likely she never got validation from those type of guys. That's my interpretation of this part of the question. And also, moving forward, she says, and the guys that I actually do want, and the guys that want to date me are usually unattractive or otherwise too normie or dorky. That's such a mean statement to say, which tells me again that either because she's had low self-esteem, she's projecting. You know what I mean? Do you understand? It sounds to me, maybe when she was feeling low about herself, she was that. She was a dork. She was not popular. She didn't present as the cool kids. That is the perception I'm getting. So now that she feels better and she's getting fucked by the so-called bad boys, she feels better than the guys that are just normal guys. In her own words, they are normie or dorky, which is such a mean thing to say. There's nothing. So that means she doesn't want a normal guy? What does dorky mean? You know what I mean? What does dorky mean at the end of the day? Does it mean those guys are like nerds? You know what I mean? Like, it seems to me that she used to be that when she was not feeling positive about herself. I don't see anything wrong with that. But now that she feels positive, she feels better, and so she has to push people down. It screams low self-esteem to me. It screams projection. She needs work. She needs to speak to a therapist, in my opinion. There's a lot of things going on here. I don't know her personally. Of course, I'm just judging her based on the question, but this is the feeling I get. Okay? And now, a quick tangent. I've seen this happen a lot. I think a lot of girls, especially those that use dating apps, social media, you know, they have a tendency of overvaluing themselves. You think you're better than you really are. Okay? Just because you're having hundreds of likes on Tinder, on Hinge, Bumble, and God knows how many other dating apps you're using, or you're getting hundreds of messages on Instagram, that doesn't mean anything. It's cheap. It's cheap validation. You're not the only one getting it. Hundreds of other girls are getting it too. So don't let that inflate your sense of self. Okay? Because you might think that just because you're getting hundreds of likes that you are sexy. I'm not trying to crush your self-esteem, but don't put too much into it. Okay? You are most likely not as hot as you think you are. You don't have as much options as you think you do. Because that's one thing social media and dating apps has really fucked over for some women. It gives you this perception, this illusion that there's another guy waiting for you. You can have a better guy. There's another better guy. There's a better option. He's taller, he's richer, he's more muscular, he's this. The answer to that is no. You don't have another guy waiting for you. You have another dick waiting for you, most likely. What I mean by another guy is somebody that actually wants to spend time with you. Be very careful, because a lot of women get it twisted. And it's not just young women. You have women in their late 20s and 30s thinking like this. That, oh, the guy I'm going to meet has to be perfect. He has to be this tall, with this face shape, with this skin, with this, with this. Look, you can have whatever preferences you want. I don't give a shit. But the question is, can you get that? And a lot of women don't realize that not every guy is going to be attracted to you. You're not that special. You think you are, you're really not. Just like you are not attracted to every guy, not every guy is going to be attracted to you. So calm down, chill. And she said something that also made me feel a bit weird. And again, maybe not weird because I've seen this happen multiple times. She said, and the guys that actually do want to date me are usually unattractive or otherwise too normy and dorky. Again, a lot of women don't realize that relationships are not an action movie. Getting into a relationship, staying in a relationship and building something worthwhile is not a rom-com. You know, where the guy comes in with his Prince Charming charges with his white horse on a beach with his cape flowing in the wind. No. That's fantasy. You know, the qualities you need to build a strong, solid, secure relationship, it's the boring stuff. You know, it's the boring stuff. It's not. You can definitely not build a relationship with an emotionally stunted guy, as you say, with bad communicators, as you say, and don't act their age, as you say. You have to be very careful. And I see this happen so many times. I've been the dorky guy who was getting just very quickly brushed to the side, and then the woman chases the flashy guy. You see, you have to understand that people open up in different ways. And I also, again, I blame Tinder, I blame dating apps in general for this. You have commodified people to the position whereby it becomes a simple swipe left or a swipe right. We are people. We are human beings. We are not a picture. Some of the dorky guys in quotes that you call dorky or normie, those could be great guys. Those could be very great guys, but you dismiss them so quickly. You're coming to them with bad faith. So they can't really convince you because you already make judgment of who they are. The good men could be there, but you're not looking at them that way. You're looking at them already judgmentally, so you can't really see anything else. You know? The good men are there. She asked later in the question, where are all the good men? The good men are there. You just don't want them. Which is why as I get older in my own life, I feel less sorry for women who complain about men. Because I've realized that a lot of women who complain about men, like talking about where are all the good men, you know where those good men are. You just don't want them. You're just not attracted to them. And maybe now they don't want you because maybe you're not as beautiful as you were when you were younger. You're not as sexy as you were when you were younger. Your body isn't as attractive as it was when you were younger. Because a lot of women don't realize this, that your leverage, especially when it comes to getting a mate, as you get older, it diminishes. A girl being 23 and a girl being 33 are not the same thing. A single 23-year-old and a single 33-year-old woman, they don't have the same negotiating power. You understand? So, yeah, to me, this question screams low self-esteem, and it screams mean girl energy. You know, they're too dorky. She's 27, by the way, okay? And I can bet you one thing, as she gets to maybe 33, 37, she's gonna be more humble. And then she's gonna be making a video on where are all the good men gone. Nah, man, it's weird.